Hi, Cesar.
Hello, Tia. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I always been following you for a while, especially after reading the book, and so happy that we have the opportunity to connect. So thanks for
Oh,
having me.
of course. Well, we got connected through Sophia, and I
Yeah.
think we knew that we were aligned in lots of ways. So I want to start off by asking you it because you're a very busy executive. You also have a family, and
Yeah.
you're involved in charity work and many other things. You're a busy individual, like
Yeah.
everyone listening to this show. How do you prioritize your well-being? What do you do to choose happiness for yourself and
Yeah.
stay well for your team, for your company, for your
Yeah.
family?
Yeah.
What works
Yeah.
for you?
It's a great topic and not an easy one. It's my personal experience has been really a work in progress, and I still have, a lot of opportunity on to ensure that I can continue to take better care of myself, be more consistent on how I approach things. But yeah, in short, it really came about a few years back where I think I'm now in my 40s, and I think coming, I always want to achieve like good positions and grow professionally.
Yeah,
So you always have these aspirations, and it comes one point that you realize that it just can't be nonstop 24/7, right? You start feeling that, hey, this one day is gonna, I'm just gonna, right, break down.
gonna
Uh,
catch up to you.
yeah, yeah, and I think that it helped me. My personal experience, it helped me a lot once I had a family, right? You start, of course, you have to balance your values a little bit, your time.
Mhm.
And then it took me a long time, but finally I learned that every time I'm saying yes to something, that means that I'm saying no to something else.
Right.
And I realized that, sometimes I was saying no to my well-being when, that really shouldn't be, right? Ideally, it's not sure if there's such a thing as balance, because it's very hard to get balance. But I always look in trying to get as much harmony as possible between work, family, and self-care. And then it's always an adjustment, and I'm always being very fortunate to have people around me that don't hold back on telling me when I'm falling short in one of those. So then it helps you, right, become aware and adjust. But yeah, that has been kind of my journey on that so far.
I really like that you use the word harmony.
Mhm.
Ariana Huffington with for
Uh,
Thrive Global, right, from Huffington Post, she uses the term life work integration, but I think
uh,
harmony is a great term because it's not about time, it's about how you feel and
yeah.
connecting to your values and what's important.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
and it's
mm.
easy for someone who, like both of us, it's if you're driven and
Yeah.
you enjoy your career. I always say
Yeah.
I'm like a happy workaholic. Like
Yeah.
I've always loved whether it's hotels or my company now.
Yeah.
Thankfully, and I think a lot of people in hospitality feel that way. Like they like the industry, they're passionate what they do.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, success, whether that be financial success or awards or accolades or whatever it is,
Yeah.
um there's this external recognition and it feels good and you feel valuable, you
Mm.
feel productive.
Mhm.
Whereas well-being, there's not anyone that's like, way to
Yeah.
go, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I want to ask you because you mentioned, I think it's really really important piece of like it is easy to say no to well-being.
Yeah.
You're busy, you're working on this, or and
Yeah.
so how do you say yes? Two
Yeah.
questions. How do you say yes to well-being?
Yeah.
What are some well-being practices that work for you?
Mhm. Yeah. So yes, I think it's a great point actually, on well-being. I believe may be the easiest to sacrifice, right? Because just impacts
Yes.
you, right? It's not like someone else that you're saying no to. So, in my journey, that's when I think I sacrifice the most probably is in this area, I would imagine. But then I think, the more you start listening to your intuition, to, yourself, you start learning, hey, if I listen and you feel better and you act on it, then it's a great way to progress. Um, but to me, my journey really started about 8 years ago, and wasn't really too much of a choice per se. I mean, it was a choice, but that's when I start my sobriety journey.
Yes.
And it really came, to a point where, of course, my health, right, was clearly deteriorating. At some point, it's just not sustainable. But then
Mhm.
also, right, my personal life, I was always able to still deliver at work somehow.
Yeah.
But right, it came to a point where, right, I had to make a choice. It's like, hey, if I keep this way, it's easy to know what's going to happen, right? I'm going to lose
Mm.
everything and be gone sooner than later.
Mhm.
But thankfully, right, I had a fantastic support system. My wife was awesome supporting that. So that really kind of start to help me develop an awareness of number one, communicating more. I always internalized a lot and never expressed something that I felt that could, hurt someone, or not be a pleasant conversation. So I
Yeah.
start learning, hey, right, I need to be a better communicator, and not hold everything inside. And then also, right, as you start getting clarity, you start seeing, progress in your health, and say, wow, this feels great. And you just want to keep going, and you start finding, passions, balance, and then you start seeing the more and more you're better off from a mental and physical aspect, the better performance, right, you deliver in every aspect of your life, from your relationships, from work. So you start seeing, and then, it becomes a fantastic experience, always, right, learning. And the beauty of this journey is that it never ends, right? It's always always something that you're going to learn until whenever. It never
Until
stops.
hopefully 97 years old,
Yeah.
right? Or yeah. Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, oh my gosh, there's so much valuable pieces that you just said.
uh,
I wanna note that, you said work was okay. And I
yeah,
think it's very easy in a way to maybe not hide, but you can keep going on that journey where maybe there's challenges in other places, but work is good. And we
yeah,
definitely place a tremendous value on how we're doing at work and how work is going and how we rate ourselves, etc.
yeah,
Um, so I want to just commend you on that pause, that reflection, and really,
yeah,
focusing on your health and your personal life.
yeah,
How do you think it's positively impacted? So now you do have this more focus on well-being and it's
uh-huh,
helped your relationships.
yeah,
What is the biggest change to your career, to your work?
sure. Yeah. Wow, I think it made some big changes on the empathy side, right? Because through your
Mm.
journey, you realize that, whew, there was so much, right, that you worked, that I've worked on so far, and then I'll
Yeah.
continue to work and progress. So I think you understanding that no matter, to your point, looking someone from outside, it may look like, wow, this person has
Got
it
it
down,
all together.
right?
Yeah.
It's like life is good, great job, but you really don't know what's happening. Everyone has something going on, right? If it's not
Yes.
necessarily personally, someone close to you. So I think having that in back of the mind, and then as I work on my self-improvement from, I read a lot of books, and I recently started reading a lot again about, leadership, most leadership as, topics.
Yeah.
Um, you start also becoming, I think, a better listener, and you start, identifying ways that you can really unlock the potential of each person around you. And each person is going to be different, but then you start seeing wonderful things happening around performance, just because every person is different, every person is triggered positively, right, and
Mhm.
negatively by something unique to them. So once
Mhm.
you're able to identify that and cater to their needs, that unlocks so much potential, and that's just a fantastic feeling when that happens.
Yes. So as you are on this journey of
Uh-huh.
unlocking your personal potential
Mhm.
and career potential, you then have this awareness, desire, and also tools, whether it be listening, empathy, I'm sure you have a lot of other ones to support other people doing the same. And
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know, like, who doesn't want a leader that is coaching them and supporting them to unlock their potential?
yeah,
You didn't say this, but you're also modeling being really, I mean, you have an incredible career. You're modeling incredible career and focusing on your health and your personal relationships that,
yeah,
like you said, everything's not perfectly balanced
yeah, yeah,
because it's
for
not
sure.
about time, but
Yeah.
you're putting attention and care towards each of those.
Yes. Yes, and one thing that helped me a lot, and that this is kind of a recent learning for me, is, uh, I have a friend that taught me, about kind of, if there's something that you're passionate about, to kind of invest time and, right, just follow
Yep.
your passion. There's something that you care about that speaks to your heart. And I said to myself, I said, "You're crazy. It's like, I don't have time to do anything. How I'm gonna do it?" And I'm learning that now that I'm doing that. So, reading, doing some charity work, and also writing some blogs. I feel that that energizes me, right? So as I block specific times for that, in the evenings or weekend or whenever, I just feel that, even though that, yeah, it's time and takes effort, but
Yep.
also gives you energy to then, ensure that you can keep going and be at your best. So that was a very interesting. It sounded like a little counterintuitive to me at first, but
Yes.
it works.
That's really
Yeah.
valuable. I can relate to when I was working full time at a hotel in Los Angeles.
Uh,
And I thought, I knew I wanted to create my dream company, which is Arrive at Happy, which I now have. And I was studying after my kids went to bed, and I
mm,
already felt so full. I was like, I have these two little kids, this crazy
yeah.
career, husband, exercise, friends, you know, but I was this is when I started studying the science of happiness. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh my goodness. And I felt the same. It was like wind in my
Yeah.
sails to do everything even better. So
Yeah.
such a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. You have
Sure.
been leading teams and leading people for a long time, and you're in a new role. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank
And
you. Yeah.
you are leading, leading people. And I know you do in person, virtual,
Mhm.
hybrid, travel, working with people, working with customers, etc. What do you think leaders need to be focusing on leading, coaching people right now?
Mhm.
And I know
Mhm.
that's a big question, but what do you think to be a successful leader right now? It's,
Uh-huh.
2024, right?
Yeah.
We're halfway through 2023.
Yeah.
What do you think leaders need to be? I mean, of course, it's driving results. That's like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
uh, you know,
Yeah.
in addition to
Yeah.
that.
I, Ooh. Well, I'm sure I'm gonna miss a lot of things, but to simplify, I would say at the end of the day, I think caring is a big one, right? Because I think if your team knows that you care, you genuinely care for them, there's gonna be trust,
Mhm,
right? There's gonna be open communications. There's gonna build loyalty, like
mhm,
over time. And also you start seeing that you really have each other's back
mhm.
when they know
Support.
that you're there for them. So I know there is a lot of more complex, but I really think in a simplified way, I would say care, especially nowadays. I think as we went through COVID, was really a shock to everyone's lives, right? Or suddenly we're
Mhm,
operating at a million miles an hour, doing our thing, always the same, then boom, everything stops. Everything is different. You got to work from home. And then people, right, they reprioritize and say, hey, is the job I'm doing really of value to me, right? Is because you start
right,
questioning, hey, have I been spending enough time with my family? Have I been doing what I'm passionate about? Do I feel like I'm contributing to others and myself? So I think that shift the paradigm for many people. And I think the care piece, because at the end of the day, like, now people know they can get jobs anywhere, right? So
yes,
if they feel they just have a job with you, then nothing will really keep them, right? Until a
right,
better offer comes to the table, they'll be gone. But I
right,
think you can create the bond, that mutual respect and trust. I think that helps a lot for their, happiness, career progression, learnings, and as you said, at the end of the day, right, we got to deliver. So the
right,
results, yeah,
right, right.
yeah,
I agree completely. It's leading with heart, just like human to human working together, not this, I want to say, old school hierarchy of,
yeah,
do this because I'm the boss. And, like yeah, there's a million jobs out there, whether it's digital, in person,
yeah,
industry switching, so
yeah.
much opportunity. Um, how come you think, and I do say, I think the hospitality industry, because of the type of people it
Yeah,
attracts a lot of caring, great people. I always said that. I'm like, one of the best things about the industry are the people it attracts.
yeah, yeah.
But how come, like having people feel like their leader authentically, truly cares?
Hmm.
And I don't know the exact stats on, like, I know the engagement scores in the US and different stats, but I don't actually know if there's a caring stat. I'm curious if Gallup has
Yeah,
one, but a lot of people are not really caring. And
yeah.
so, yeah, how come you think this is hard or maybe just uncomfortable for a lot of
Mm,
people to actually, because
mm.
it's the authentic piece.
Yeah. Uh, that's a tough one. So I don't know. I really don't know. What comes to me, the only thing that comes to me really, I think it's fear of being vulnerable, perhaps. I
I think
think
you're right.
uh, because when I started, right, growing up, all I heard from, your point about old school. My dad was so old school. He was like, hey, you do this, you do that, you go to work, you don't question, you just shut up, put your head down, right, and deliver. And doesn't matter what is asked of you, just go and do it. Um, and uh, and I think that's, a mentality like this, you really don't bring yourself to work, right? And then
Right.
that's
Your
when you
true
start
self.
feeling unhappy. uh Early in my career as of progressing, I was trying to, how crazy is this, right? I was trying to assume what people thought I should behave and then try to, deliver on that. And it's
I can
like,
relate to that
yeah,
early on in
right,
my career.
yeah,
Absolutely. I'm
on
like,
your
oh, they
day,
want me to act like this.
yeah.
So
And it's like, I don't know, perhaps they did, perhaps they didn't, but I was doing that, and I was like so unhappy. And then, the more I got comfortable, the more you start opening up and show your true self, as you mentioned earlier. People know when you're authentic, right? When you
Mhm.
meet someone, doesn't take a lot of time to know if this is the real person or they're projecting
If there's a
something, they're
cover, there's
targeting.
a yep.
And then people respond to that, and I think once you realize that, um I don't know, perhaps people are just afraid of taking that first step, because
Mm,
once you take the first step and you get people's reaction, likely is going to incent you to continue on that path, because you're going to say, wow, that was a good response, that was a
mhm,
positive engagement. So
mhm.
I don't know if I'm right, but
No, I think you're right. You are speaking the wisdom and research of Brené Brown of vulnerability. And
uh,
because when people are vulnerable at work or in
mm,
their personal life, other people's shame goes down. And
mm,
like you said,
mm,
everyone has something going on. I was on, I did two keynotes in two different cities early this week and was
uh-huh,
talking to an executive. I shared something very personal about my family life.
yeah,
I'd only known this guy like 24 hours. He turned around and shared something deeply personal about it was both our children, actually, very,
mhm,
very, and instantly I was like, I'm going to be friends with this guy for life. I mean, we like, and it was
yeah,
that like openness of, yeah, I'm going to share like stuff that's not perfect in my life. And
yeah,
so fear and discomfort of being vulnerable. And
mm,
also, if you haven't been exposed to leaders that are vulnerable or have
mhm,
other, like your parents, or if you haven't been around people that are vulnerable, of course, it's going to feel
yeah,
uncomfortable. Um, but I hope everyone listening
yeah,
takes this as a reminder and encouragement to, yeah, to be authentic and to be real.
yeah,
And it definitely ties into everything you said, like loyalty, support, unlocking people's potential. Um, but they'll feel like I'm working with a real human. Like this
yes,
isn't the boss. This is like a real
yeah,
human that maybe is a bit ahead of me, but oh my gosh,
yeah,
I wanna, yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
wanna give it my all. So
yeah.
thank you for sharing that. I think you're right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the beautiful thing is that, if you're a leader, you can do that. And usually, right, you can have a big impact, because then your team will feel much, to your point, right? Once you opened up, you got that feedback immediately. So
Yep.
you can have a big impact. But also, right, if I was starting my career all over again, I would be all that way throughout, because even if you're not a leader, right, even if you're just starting out, you can still do that, and that's going to permeate, right, to your immediate circle, and then starting affecting others in a positive way, which is
Which
beautiful.
is what
um yeah, yeah,
you've
and then
inspired me. I think I need to make a video about happiness and vulnerability,
there you go,
the
there you
connection
go.
between the two. Oh, Caesar, we could talk for another hour, but it's at the end of the episode. Thank you so much for coming on the Arrive at Happy show. And I hope I get to see you in person
uh
sometime soon.
Thank you, and likewise, it was a lot of fun, and it'd be great to connect again. Appreciate it.